Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel that takes you deep inside the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Jack Hammer. I am here at Levi Stadium where today, this evening actually, the 49ers took down the Denver Broncos in their preseason home opener here at Levi Stadium by a score of 21-20. Fantastic finish to this game, engineered by 49ers quarterback Trey Lance, who was in a tight battle for the 49ers backup quarterback position. We're going to get into that. The bigger news of the day actually was Brock Purdy. He made his return to the field tonight in terms of actually game action for the first time since the NFC Championship game out in Philadelphia. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at all of what happened tonight. We're going to look at the quarterbacks, and we'll look into some of the other things as well. We're going to start off with Brock Purdy, like I mentioned. Purdy getting the start. It was unknown whether or not he was going to play. On Thursday, the last time we spoke with Kyle Shanahan here after practice, he said he wasn't sure what was going to happen. He didn't sound like we were going to see any of Brock Purdy. But as you know, sometimes happens during the preseason. That changed. There was some discussion in the 49ers organization as early as Thursday afternoon that Brock Purdy might go. But it wasn't until about an hour and a half before the game when Brock Purdy came onto the field with Jake Brendel. It was actually about 45 minutes before the game. They came on for the pregame warmups. Brock Purdy in 49ers uniform, along with Jake Brendel, and he got the start today, along with a number of the 49ers starting offense. The only 49ers starters who did not go tonight, Trent Williams at left tackle, running back Christian McCaffrey, and tight end George Kittle. Those were the only three starters that did not take part in tonight's game. So let's go through it. You know, it was a typical Brock Purdy performance tonight. Nothing spectacular. He was only in there for a series, but you know what happened? The 49ers offense went boom, 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 right down the field. And it might have even ended up in a touchdown if not for a mistake by one of the running backs. And we're going to get to that as well. But the first play of the game, you know, there was a lot of talk last week about how Kyle Shanahan came out throwing the ball with Trey Lance. And, well, that wasn't fair to Trey Lance. But, hey, this is what happened tonight. The first four plays of the game, passes from Brock Purdy. He had completions on all four. He went, opened up for Purdy, opens up with a play action bootleg out to his left, connects with Deebo Samuel in the left flat. Short little throw, completes it though, gets outside the pocket. That's the thing. He's fast enough to get to the edge. He gets to the edge, gets the ball to Deebo Samuel, just an easy throw, not a long one, just a nice short underneath throw, very similar to the completion that they connected for a long touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks here in the NFC wild card game last year. Samuel takes that up the field for a gain of 25. A couple plays later, a little screen throw out to the right side to Samuel. Samuel takes off up the field, picks up 14. So a couple of really nice plays. And then from there, the difficulty starts to ratchet up for Purdy. Drops back to pass. He has an incompletion actually trying to hit Brandon Ayuk out to the right side. The play wasn't there, and he ended up throwing it out, and it was kind of a throwaway, kind of not. But incompletion. A couple of plays later, another play action boot out to the left, very similar to the play that he hit Deebo Samuel on, except for this time he goes to the second level receiver, Juwan Jennings, coming across. Nice completion for a gain of 11. That's a really nice play. That's a strong arm type of throw, rolling to your left, turning around, making that throw. That's something that we don't see that throw to that level from Jimmy Garoppolo in the past. Usually on those kind of things, it's play action boot, hit the little check down. The ability for Brock Purdy to get outside and hit that second level crosser, really nice play, a really nice completion to Juwan Jennings there. And then a couple of plays later, drops back to pass, hits Brandon Ayuk on a slant on the right side for a pickup of 15. That gets the 49ers down into the red zone. They get into the deep red zone. They're down at the 2 or 3 yard line. You get a sack of Brock Purdy, which sets up third and goal from the 10. On that third and goal from the 10 play, pressure forces him out of the pocket. He's moving to his left. Juwan Jennings is there, but instead of throwing it to him, Purdy takes off scrambling himself, tries to cut back up inside, gets tackled at the 2. They end up kicking a field goal. And even after the game, Purdy mentioned that when he goes back and looks at the film, he's probably going to think to himself that he should have made the throw to JJ, meaning to Juwan Jennings on that one. Sitting up in the press box, watching that play unfold, I felt like the play was there to be made by getting the ball to Jennings. Didn't take it, instead of run. And you get the 3 points. It's a nice drive. 4 or 5, 65 yards. And I think the biggest piece, though, most importantly for Brock Purdy, is that he showed that he could take a hit and get back up. And it didn't look like he was anybody different than what we saw in the field last year. We saw the same guy today that I've been seeing on the practice field. It was good to see for the fans to actually get a chance to see for themselves what Brock Purdy looks like. He's the same guy he's always been. He's going to make the plays. He's going to take the shots. He didn't have a need to take the downfield shots tonight. And I think it was a really nice opening performance for Brock Purdy. Again, 4 or 5, 65 yards. And really quick, sometimes I just need to be petty. And there's been a lot of talk this offseason about how Brock Purdy and his numbers considered, with having George Kittle on the field with them and also having Christian McCaffrey on the field with them, and how Trey Lance didn't have those guys. And that's been used as a knock on Brock Purdy all offseason. Well, here's the thing. Brock Purdy has now today played without him. Plus, there's 2 practices that George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey have missed with Brock Purdy. Without George Kittle and Brock Purdy on the field during this training camp and preseason, Brock Purdy has completed 24 of 35 passes with a touchdown. Those are his numbers. 24 of 35. You can figure out what the percentage is. It's pretty close to 70, which is right around where he was last year. And he's doing that without 2 of the guys. Now, I understand. I get it. It's not a regular season performance, all those types of things. All that was overblown. And again, the people that were doing that were using that as a way to knock the performance of Brock Purdy and try to lift up Trey Lance. And Trey Lance doesn't need that kind of lifting. And we're going to get into his performance tonight here in just a minute. But a really nice opening for Brock Purdy. Just wanted to take a look really quick and see what we got. Savory Movie says, get him, Jack. Be petty. Hey, sometimes you got to. That's just one of those things. I've listened to this so much this offseason. It's just really one of those things I think we need to take a look at. Now let's get into the backup quarterback situation. I'm not going to go through every play. If you want to see my breakdown of every play and all those kind of things, there's a film review that's going to come up on the channel, or you can get yourself over to 49ers.pressdemocrat.com after the show, and you can read what I wrote there. But you look at Sam Darnold, you look at Trey Lance, and last week Trey Lance was the first guy on the field. Tonight they flopped. Sam Darnold was the first one, and there's a big difference though between tonight's game and last week's game. Last week when they did it, Trey Lance ended up with like 27 snaps to 18 for Sam Darnold. Tonight, Trey Lance still ends up, even though he didn't get on the field until just before the fourth quarter, because of the situations Trey Lance was in, Trey Lance ends up with more snaps on the night than Sam Darnold, more pass attempts as well, despite playing less time in terms of the game. Instead of coming in the first quarter, working his way through, he only basically played the fourth quarter. Now, Sam Darnold, he took over after that opening possession, quick 3 and out, did a really nice job beating the blitz on a throw to Jordan Mason. But his third down throw was to a well-covered Ronnie Bell, and that got broken up. And I just dropped my mouse. Hold on. There we go. We got it. We're back. So that's a bad deal there in terms of. Oh, did I break it? That's a bad deal for Sam Darnold in terms of where they were tonight on that first opening possession. But from there you go and you come back the second possession. You look at what Sam Darnold did tonight, and I'm just going to break it down really quick. I watched Sam Darnold throughout training camp. I've watched him here tonight. I watched him last week. Watched a bunch of his film during his time at Carolina. He made some nice throws tonight. He made some really good throws. He also had some tough luck. He had a really nice throw to Juwan Jennings. They got wiped away due to he had a really nice one to Juwan Jennings that got wiped away due to a hold on John Feliciano. Hold on. So that's a bad deal. But at the same time, comes back and when you watch Sam Darnold, my takeaway is this is a guy who looks really smooth. You watch Sam Darnold, he looks smooth out there. The ball comes out quick. The ball comes out quick, does all those types of things, but at the same time, it's just not, the results aren't there, right? And then you watch Trey Lance, and you watch Trey Lance tonight, and you see a guy who just doesn't look as smooth as Sam Darnold. There's no doubt about it. He's not as smooth. There's times when he's back there and he's staring down a receiver and he's missing the guy that's wide open. And so he throws late to Willie Snead. Instead of hitting Willie Snead, he's staring somewhere else, and it's not until he finds pressure and he moves that his eyes come off, and he makes the throw to Willie Snead, right? So you see those types of things from him, or you see Trey Lance drop back to pass, and he just kind of looks herky-jerky, and all of a sudden he throws it out there, and it's a completion, right? You see those kind of things from him, and you don't see that from Sam Darnold. But then you see the other side of Trey Lance, which is the guy drops back to pass, he hits his back foot, maybe he's got one hitch, and the ball comes out. And man, and when he does that, it's really pretty. And you look at tonight's game, and there was some of that herky jerkiness out of Trey Lance. You know, some of just those. You know, there were. If we go through the plays, there was a late in the game. There was a possession. Let me find it really quick. It was. I think it was the one. It was not the one with the 2 minutes when they got it out. It was before that. It's the one that got them to, I think it was 20 to 18, that drive, right? And he drops back to pass, and he's just kind of herky-jerky in the pocket, and he's all of a sudden he finds Cameron Latu and completes an out pass to him on the left side for a gain of 16, right? And that's the difference between Lance and Darnold. He makes the throw. It's just not as pretty, but he gets the throw there, right? And then after that, all of a sudden you see him start to hit his back foot. You see him start to make the throws down the field, and he goes after that, he just goes boom, 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 gets him down the field, and then he drills the ball down the Latu right down the middle for the touchdown in the right seam. Just a really nice play out of Trey Lance to Cameron Latu on the touchdown. Some really nice throws before that. Even the possession before, there was a play with Trey Lance where he drops back to pass. He throws a deep. It's the only incompletion of the night for Cameron Latu. And it was a ball that Lance threw that was just a little bit underthrown on a deep corner route. And the only reason it was underthrown is because Trey Lance stood in the pocket, looked down the field, got drilled as he's throwing the ball, and that's why the ball comes up short of Latu. So, you know, I watch these guys play so much, and I've been saying throughout training camp that I feel like Sam Darnold is not the best backup quarterback for the 49ers. I felt like Trey Lance's performance throughout training camp has been better than Sam Darnold on a regular basis. Sam Darnold's put up good numbers. If you look at their completion percentage from camp, Sam Darnold's is better than Trey Lance's. But the difference is Sam Darnold, for the most part, both these guys are really throwing short, right? But at the same time, Trey Lance has had those moments where he's gone downfield. Trey Lance is also the younger player. Trey Lance has the higher upside than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is who he is. Trey Lance is still progressing, and every once in a while, like tonight, you see those flashes. And I get that it was late in the game. I get that he's playing against, you know, whatever you want to say about the guys that were on the field that he was playing against. Frank Clark was one of the guys that was on the field for the Denver Broncos when he was leading those scoring drives at the end of the game. Frank Clark is a Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he made some big plays. Or Trey Lance made a number of big plays tonight to beat that defense. And not only did he drive the ball down the field, get them into the end zone to bring them within 2, you get the defense makes a stop. There's 2 minutes left to go, just over 2 minutes. You get that 2-minute series for Lance. You know, the first one, a little screen out to Bell for 14 yards. But the next one, that's just money. Drop back to pass, hitch, ball comes out, gets it to Ronnie Bell just as he starts to cut on the end, makes the catch, splits the defense, 43-yard gain. Now you're in field goal range for Jake Moody. Come out, kick the field goal. It's good. And you just look at the way that whole situation went. Really nice possession, I felt like, for really nice back-to-back possessions for Trey Lance. And I made the comment on Twitter. I'll make the same comment here. Sam Darnold is the smoother of these two guys, but the 49ers' best quarterback when it comes to their backup position is Trey Lance. There's nothing that's separate. You watch these guys again, there's a difference in the aesthetics, but the results are the same. Go with Trey Lance. Don't screw this up right now, Kyle Shanahan. Go with Trey Lance. Name him your backup. Keep Sam Darnold as your number 3. Try to get Brandon Allen on your practice squad. Give your team the best guys possible, but make Trey Lance your backup. Stop playing the game just go ahead and name him your backup because he is the better of the two quarterbacks. And I think if Trey Lance is going to have issues at times. Trey Lance, I'm not going to come on here and I'm not going to tell you that Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback. That's not going to happen. Trey Lance is not going to be the starting quarterback of the 49ers. The only way that Trey Lance becomes a starting quarterback of the 49ers at some point this season is if something happens to Brock Purdy, knock on wood. That's the only way that it happens. So you just have to be realistic about this situation. And if you're a guy that doesn't like Trey Lance for whatever reason, I'm sorry, but Trey Lance is playing at a very high level right now. And he has some times where he doesn't look good. I understand that. Tonight there was a couple of those, but more often than not, he has looked good. Brock Purdy is the best quarterback on this team. Trey Lance is your second best. Sam Darnold right there with them. But I feel I would, if I was Kyle Shanahan, I would feel more comfortable putting Trey Lance into the game. On top of the throwing aspect, we saw Lance make a couple of plays with his legs today. Nothing major. He did have a nice gain on a quarterback draw that got called back due to a hold. Those types of things. So it was a good overall game. I felt for all three of those quarterbacks tonight. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next week in week 3. Kyle Shanahan said that we'll see Brock Purdy on the field again Friday night here at Levi Stadium when the 49ers take on the Los Angeles Chargers in their final preseason game. So we'll get another look at Brock Purdy. We'll get another look at all these guys. But Trey Lance looked really good, was in rhythm, as my 283 says. He got into a rhythm, and really you saw him just hit his back foot and start making throws. And that's the guy that we've seen at times on the practice field here as well, but just not on a regular enough type of a basis. So that's the quarterback stuff. I know you guys are arguing over there. Brandon Allen is not the backup, Michael. I understand if there's things to like about Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen is not the guy. Brandon Allen will be a nice third string guy. He's a nice veteran type of player. But he's not the guy that I think the 40 would be the best option for the 49ers to be the backup. He's never really been successful as a backup in the league. And, back in Cincinnati, I know he was the backup to Joe Burrow, but he never had to play there for any significant amount of time. And so I don't want to see him be the backup for the 49ers. I just don't think that is the correct direction to go. Now, I'm going to bring this one up because I'm not hating on you, Kid Icarus. He says, Jack, pandering for the Trey stands is good for business. Kid, this is one of those things that I've talked about. If you want to get likes, if you want to get followers, if you want to build your online presence, you talk about Trey Lance in a positive manner. I get it. So I understand what you're going for. And believe me, I am not pandering to anybody. I have been saying throughout training camp that I feel like Trey Lance is the guy in terms of the backup position over Sam Darnold. I've been coming on this channel talking about how Lance has stacked good days repeatedly throughout most of training camp. He's had a few rough ones, but for the most part, he had been stacking really good days. His practice reps were diminished quite a bit this last week with Brock Purdy playing the entire week. So I'm not pandering to Trey stands. I don't really give a crap about the Trey stands. I don't give a crap about what anybody thinks about. I'm not a guy that comes on here wanting you to like me because I like Brock Purdy. I'm not a guy that comes on here wanting you to like me because I say positive things about Trey Lance. I want you to come and watch this show because I am telling you, giving you my honest opinion, while also giving you information that's not to try to win you over. Because if you don't like what I have to say, that's completely fine. If you like what I have to say, that's perfectly fine too. At the end of the day, you're going to get my honest assessment. Sometimes I put honest assessment or honest whatever in titles. I think it's kind of cheesy because every time I come on, I'm giving you my honest assessment. I never say something that I don't believe, and I don't say something just to make other people like it. So just wanted to touch base on that really quick because I felt like it was something that was necessary. So that's the quarterback stuff. In terms of other guys that stood out tonight, Deebo Samuel. I felt like Deebo Samuel, we haven't really talked much about Deebo Samuel during this camp. All the focus has been on Brandon Ayuk. Tonight he showed that he's ready to go. I think he's ready for a big year. He's back in shape. He's healthy. That 25-yard completion, run after catch, the 14-yard run after catch. I think Deebo Samuel's ready for a big year. Cameron Latu, this is a guy that I've been hammering on throughout camp. He's been struggling hold on to the football. He really put it all together tonight. He was targeted 4 times, 3 catches, um, one of them for 22, another one for 16. So a good game for him. The only ball that he didn't catch was the one that came to him that he couldn't get his hands on. That was a little short. So Cameron Latu had a really nice game tonight, and he needs to now. We need to see him continue to stack those days. What he showed tonight, I think, is what he's capable of, and what the 49ers saw in him when they drafted him in the 3rd round. If he can figure out the catching part, Cameron Latu is going to be a really good tight end for the 49ers, because this guy is a really good blocker when it comes to pass blocking and run blocking. He's a really good route runner as well. He just needs to hold on to the ball. Ronnie Bell, you look at Ronnie Bell's night tonight, another rookie, and it was mostly good. The rookie had 7 catches, 114 yards to lead all the 49ers receivers. And he also showed well on special teams. He had a 25-yard kickoff return as well as a 28-yard punt return. So good stuff from Ronnie Bell there. On the downside with Bell, he had a drop on a route over the middle from Sam Darnold's a slant. Should have been a completion, hit him right in the hands, popped out of his hands, went straight up in the air, and was picked off by the Denver Broncos cornerback on the play. So, you look at Bell's night, and especially with the news I'm just about to tell you with Danny Gray, the 49ers need those mistakes to stop happening, because it happened last week against the Raiders as well. Bell needs to start catching everything that comes to him, because Danny Gray may be out for a period of time. Danny Gray opened the game off with a 23-yard kickoff return, really nice return, got tackled out of bounds on the right sidelines, right in front of the 49ers bench, went down with a collarbone injury. They took x-rays here at the stadium, but those x-rays were inconclusive. So they're having him go to another facility, to a hospital for another x-ray to try to get a better picture of what's going on in there. If there's an injury with that collarbone and he's going to be out for a period of time, that opens up another spot. We know the 49ers are 3 deep, right? We know that the top 3 receivers, it's Ayuk, Samuel, Juwan Jennings. We know those. It had always been, then you would add on Ray McLeod and Danny Gray. Those were your top 5. Well, now with the injury, Ray McLeod is out. If Danny Gray is out, now you've got 3 guys and you've got a bunch of others that are fighting for that last spot. It kind of opens up a spot possibly for Chris Conley, the veteran, to make the roster. Opens up Ronnie Bell, makes him more likely. Kyle Shanahan talked about how well he did tonight and how important that is for the team moving forward. So we need to see Ronnie Bell step it up and stop with those silly drops that are popping out of his hands that are hitting him right in the chest. So he's dealing with those kind of injuries too. But like I said, Danny Gray, collarbone injury, x-rays at the stadium inconclusive, getting a second opinion on those x-rays so that they can try to get a clearer picture there. Now, that's the receiver situation. Ty Davis Price, the second year back, finished with 4 carries for 22 yards. That sounds good, but 15 of those came on one run late in the game, right after the 43-yard completion that went to Ronnie Bell that put the 49ers in field goal range. That came with Ty Davis Price at a 15-yard run there. But the big thing with Ty Davis Price that I think is important that we need to pay attention to is his pass blocking. And he is an absolute liability in pass protection. Tonight, deep in the red zone on that opening possession, Davis Price absolutely whiffed on a pass block, which led to the sack of Brock Purdy. And this is something that we saw of him in the game last week against the Las Vegas Raiders, where he's going and he just dives at him. And I understand like diving. I get the that's a way that you can block, but he needs to do a better job of making contact when he does it. He completely misses, and those guys, you just got fucking free runners coming at the quarterbacks, pardon the language, and you just can't have that. And that's where Jordan Mason separates himself from Ty Davis Price. And I think this is part of the reason why Ty Davis Price wasn't on the 53-man roster. He was on the 53-man roster, but why he wasn't on the active roster a lot during his rookie season is he is a liability in pass protection, and it's been showing up here during this preseason. Another one that I want to talk about in a positive, T.Y. McGill. T.Y. McGill, reserve defensive tackle, worked with the second unit in place of Javon Kinlaw. Kinlaw didn't dress tonight. He wasn't at practice on Thursday. Not sure what's going on with Javon Kinlaw, but McGill got a lot of work in there with the number 2s. And for McGill, he had a really nice night. He had a sack. He hit the quarterback which nearly led to an interception for Marcelino McCurry Ball. And then they had a screen that he was able to make a really nice play on and drop it for no gain. So T.Y. McGill, a guy who the 49ers signed last year during the middle of the season, was on their practice squad. He got elevated up, had some big plays here for the 49ers, in particular against the New Orleans Saints during a goal line stand in that game. And he's fighting for a spot on that roster, and he's looking really good. And I think McGill's gonna have a shot to make it. So wanted to make sure I shouted out T.Y. McGill for his performance here tonight. Let's see what else we got. Where is my credibility? My credibility is in my self-belief, I guess. I don't know. I've coached the game, played the game, been around the game for I'm 49 now, so over 40 years. I feel pretty good about my knowledge of football. And, whether or not Kyle Shanahan, he's not going to listen to me. He doesn't give a shit what I say. I'm giving you my opinion on where it is. And I think that what I told you is accurate. And we'll go from there. And then we have Blind Tom, member of the Toolbox, says, I came here for sanity. Thank you for your great and astute observations. Thank you, Blind Tom. Also, if you're watching the show and you want to become a member of the Toolbox, go ahead and do that. That's why he's got the $sign next to his name. So I appreciate that. Would you say the blocking was significantly better than what Trey had? I'm not sure if you're asking me that question, Marvin, but Trey Lance didn't have great blocking. It wasn't bad. I feel like the blocking was about the same as what he dealt with last week. There was a couple of times where there was pressure and he moved, but he did a really nice job. I felt like hanging in and did a really good job making plays tonight. Let's see what else we've got here. Looking through, we talked to, another one, Jair Brown. But a lot of rookies are going to be here at the end of this list. Jair Brown made the start at safety tonight in place of Tayshaun Gibson. Not sure what went into that decision. Brown was not on the field on Wednesday or Thursday during those training camp practices. Came on, made the start today, ended up with 2 tackles on the night. One of his best plays, though, doesn't even show up on the stat sheet. It was a screen out to the left side, and he saw it coming, and you could see on the replay, you could see him see it coming and fire his gun, attacks downhill, forces the runner to stop his feet, cut back inside, and that's where all of his teammates are, and they come up with a big tackle and a stop. So really nice play from Jair Brown. He's a really nice safety. I'm looking for more from him in the passing game, but he's getting there. Another safety, though, tonight that caught my attention was Miles Hartsfield. The 49ers signed Hartsfield as a free agent, and I feel like he had a really rough game. 2 times tonight, he had opportunities to make an open field tackles to keep Broncos running back Jaleel McLaughlin from the end zone. Missed them both. The first one came right after the muffed punt by Deshaun Jameson in this end zone right here. Little run out to the left side. He's got him. Should be a touchdown or a tackle. Misses him. Touchdown. The other one on the other end of the field. Little pass out there to Jaleel McLaughlin, and just gets there, stops. Hartsfield runs right by him. He walks in the end zone for a touchdown. So Miles Hartsfield not going to make this roster. I doubt that he has a chance of actually making this roster. He's fighting for a spot on the practice squad or with another team, and his performance tonight didn't help him at all. Deshaun Jameson, a guy that's an undrafted rookie free agent cornerback. Been a lot of people talking him up, including myself. And right now he's pushing for a roster spot as a return specialist. That's where he's going to make this roster. He's not going to make this roster just because of his ability as a defensive back. You've got to be able to play both spots, but it's mostly going to be what he does as a returner. Tonight he got out there, muffed the punt, deep in 49ers territory. Denver recovers, scores a couple of plays later on that Hartsfield miss. Jameson had a couple of nice reps in man coverage tonight, but the muff punt, those types of things, that just can't be happening. And I'm the more that I hear about what's going on with Ronnie Bell, the more that's happening at that wide receiver position. I don't think the 49ers are going to keep a guy just to be the return specialist. I think it's more likely that if Danny Gray is unable to go, Ronnie Bell is your return guy, because he's going to make the back end of this roster, I think, regardless at this point. Clelin Ferrell, another guy I want to talk about really quick. Clelin Ferrell, free agent addition that a lot of people have been saying the 49ers need to add a pass rusher. Well, Clelin Ferrell looked explosive tonight, several times coming off the edge. wasn't able to get a sack, but came close a couple of times. On one of those times when he comes around the edge, and actually Clelin Ferrell's coming from the quarterback's left side, and you've got Austin Bryant coming around the right side. Both guys are starting to turn the corner. That forces Jarrett Stidham to step up into the pocket. And somebody mentioned this guy in the comment section, Marlon Davidson. That the sack that Marlon Davidson got was because of the pressure by Ferrell and Austin Bryant. Ferrell coming off one corner, Bryant off the other. They're beating their guys around the edge. The quarterback slides up into the pocket, and guess what happens? You slide up in there, and that's fine. But if you can't get rid of the ball right away, and you've got a defensive tackle that's maybe winning, but still not deep in the pocket, he's going to get you. Marlon Davidson did that tonight. He can make sure that he gives a high five to Clelin Ferrell and Austin Bryant for helping set him up on that sack. It was a nice play by Davidson. Don't get me wrong, but it was set up by those other two. So there you go. Yeah, Jake Moody. Jesus says Moody is worrisome adventure. Don't need this. Hey, and I agree. They're not going to go back. They're not going to sign Robbie Gould. This is going to be his job to lose, and he may be losing it with some of these misses that he's had. Just he needs to do a better job of not missing. And we've seen him miss now 3 times. He missed the two kicks out in Vegas, missed the extra point tonight. Because of that extra point miss is why the 49ers won this game, really, because they probably would have tied it up and just gone home 20-20 otherwise. But he hit 3 field goals, hits the game winner. Yes, he misses the one field goal. That's a bad miss on the extra point, but he hits 3 others. That's positive. Now we'll get into next week, and they got to keep putting him out there. They got if he's going to be the guy, they need to keep throwing him out there. It's very similar to the arguments that I've seen a lot of times around the backup quarterback job. Get rid of Zane Gonzalez or trade him. You can trade him. The guy is Moody. Moody needs to get every single kick that you get in a game. You don't get very many opportunities. It's not like a quarterback, and that a quarterback gets a lot of, they get their reps. Kickers only get 1 or 2 a game, sometimes 3, or like tonight it was 4. If you take one of those away and get it with somebody else, that's a problem. So, I agree with Jesus here that Moody, there's some worry there. He needs to start making these field goals. Can't have any of these misses. He's been doing a really good job in practice across the parking lot over at the facility. That needs to start translating to when the lights are on and everybody's paying attention, because he needs to start making those field goals. So again, going through the night, looking at the quarterbacks, really nice night for Brock Purdy, 4 of 5, 65 yards. He's the guy. Brock Purdy is the starting quarterback of the 49ers. They are going to ride and die with Brock Purdy this season. And I think they're going to ride a lot more than they die. And then, Sam Darnold, he was 11 of 14 tonight, 12 of 18 for Trey Lance. And again, I'm not the guy that makes the decisions. That comes down to Kyle Shanahan. But the decision was up to me. My starting quarterback is Brock Purdy. My backup quarterback is Trey Lance. My third string quarterback is Sam Darnold. And I'm doing everything I can to keep Brandon Allen here in Santa Clara on my practice squad. I think those guys all together give the 49ers a better quarterback room than they had it last season. And if everything plays out right, they wouldn't even need it anyway, because Brock Purdy will play all 17 games. And we'll see how the chips fall on this team schedule this season. I think the 49ers have a really good roster. We got to see some of that today. Javon Hargrave, he didn't make the list per se, but Javon Hargrave had some really nice snaps, had a really nice play where the quarterback started to escape. Russell Wilson starts to escape up the middle. He turns, chases it down, and tackles him for no gain, or maybe it's a gain of 1 or 2. That was really good from Javon Hargrave. The 49ers defense, they need to do a better job of containing quarterbacks. They're not coming into this game scheming up how they're going to stop Russell Wilson, so that opens some things up for them. But we know they struggled with that in the past, and they need to get better at it as they move forward. But again, really nice to see Brock Purdy out on the field doing his thing. Good to see Sam Darnold get a little bit more action, and we kind of got the full Sam Darnold experience, I think, tonight, which I think leaves a lot to be desired. And we also got the Trey Lance experience, which is very similar. The results for both these guys are similar. And the fact that Trey Lance is the younger guy, I think you ride with Trey Lance as your backup. That's it. That's my show for tonight. I'm gonna sign off. I got a long drive home. It's gonna be after 1 o'clock by the time I get there. I want to say thanks to everybody in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys can do me a favor, I would like you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. Also, once you subscribe, also turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of the updates right here on Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer. And also, do me a favor, one last thing, hit that like button for me. The more likes these shows get, the more it helps get the signal out there for everybody. So like, subscribe, and also make sure you turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the updates. Right here, Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer. You can also check me out in the written form, 49ers.pressdemocrat.com. That is the Inside the 49ers blog there as well. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Keep it locked in the channel. We'll have more for you throughout the week. Take care, everybody. We'll be talking with you soon.